So we got another game, and this time I'm going to go with the English. And let's go with the immediate G3 this time. Okay, and because my knight's not on F3, this isn't a big problem. I'm going to choose a different structure. Let's go with this one, the Fischer structure. Get all of our pieces on decent squares before making any changes to the position. Also have F4 or F3 if needed at some point. Let's go ahead and do that, because if he goes Queen H5, E4 and Queen H5, I have Knight F4. And it's kind of like the classical Dutch with these same sort of themes. The pawn isn't normally on C6. That's the only real difference here. Can I go C5? C5, DE, CD. I'm going to do it. It feels right. I want to undermine things. Because if he takes, I take, he takes, I take, he takes, I take with check. Little things like that check makes a difference. And this is also something that is a bit different that you don't get from the classical Dutch. And when I take here, you got to defend that though, don't you? No discovered check or any nonsense of that regard. Oh, I wanted to get fancy. Oh, I wanted to, but it's just not there. But he's got a problem still. He should have went bishop c7 so he could take back on e5, I think. This is a very problematic position for my opponent. The c5 move worked nicely. Let's do that again because it's one of those feel-good moves. Tempoing the lady. I want to have more here, but we're just going to grab the B pair. If I move the knight, he's got bishop b4 check and potentially rook d2, and that could be devastating. So going this route and simply finishing development, getting the bishop pair in the open position. You don't need to press for more than you have sometimes. And I can come back to this idea again. That knight was nice there. I liked him. I liked him a lot. So good, we'll do it again. Bishop f6, knight d4. Knight d4 may be a consideration just because of the f-pawn. I like the f4 square, but I like free stuff. And h3 may come in as well as a very reasonable idea. Bishop c5 could be interesting, and he puts everything on working for that. And h3, knight takes, pawn takes, queen takes, king h2. Rook there. So knight d4 first. Yeah, knight d4 first. Shut down the rook. You gotta watch out for the Zwischenzug, man. The in-between move will catch you. That's painful stuff. You don't need that in your life. He takes on e3, I take on e6. He takes on c2, I take on d8. He takes on a1, I take on c6. He takes back, I would take on a1. And I would be better. I believe in myself. Now I will politely ask you to go away. And then take on f5. And we'll be in good shape. Needs to pick up the pace. He didn't want to play the slightly worse position against me last time, like the pawn down, losing-ish position. I believe this is the same opponent I had in the last game. So he may not feel optimistic about his position now. Okay, so he's got an active move, so he's going to play it. Fair enough. Let's question. Okay. Let's come here to make sure the rook can't go there. I wanted him to just go away. Go away is nice. We're going to come here first. Hard to get your rooks coordinated if you only have one. I don't want his knight getting there. So the logical thing is to take away that square. That's annoying. I started botching this. Yeah, let's see how I handle those complications, because I always feel like my time trouble is irrelevant because as soon as I move, I get 2 seconds. But his became very relevant, and I didn't have any reason to allow the knight g3 nonsense. His English setup wasn't bad. I just think allowing c5, or he chose the wrong plan here. Okay, you need to go e4 here. That makes sense. And white has sufficient compensation, it says, because of all of these in-between moves. I'm not so sure about that. I like black here. I don't think my c5 move was good. I think it was good in blitz, but not in a long time control game. And here, bishop c7 was more accurate to cover the rook and hit this pawn. So when I go queen c2, he can get his pawn back. The way that he played it gave me far, far too much play. And the engine didn't like getting the b pair, but I don't always like the engine. Knight takes f5 immediately is stronger. With the idea of f3. Wow, not h3, but f3. Yeah, having the knight on f5 first, so if the knight dropped back, you could take and it ruins the kingside pawn structure. That makes more sense than what I played with h3 immediately. So where did I go wrong here? I know I was fine here. Bishop d4. Bishop d4 is good. e4 gives him a plan with bishop c5 where he can coordinate against this. Yeah. And I thought too much here. b4. a4 with the idea if knight takes, you have a5. Very, very nice. Very nice idea by the engine. But then bishop e5 wins. That's tough to see. I mean, I just wanted to make sure I'm not missing any f2 tactics anywhere, was why I played that. Bishop a3 to make it happen. How come this works? That's why. Yeah, and this is not good. Yeah. He's got the better of the minor pieces. Went from completely winning to losing there. But then, yeah, why e5? e5 disconnects. g5, on the other hand, anchors the bishop, and you still have flexibility. But level of play goes down when you have to make moves. I'm at 5 seconds when I make that move. And at least I made it to this position understanding that it was very difficult for my opponent to make a move because of rook d1 and threats with f takes g3. So a little English game, if you will.